2 mistakes that ruin your life. Can you relate? In fact, people spend a lot of time and a lot of money going to psychologists, trying to figure out how to improve their lives. And there are 2 moments that you can find in yourself and work through quickly enough just by drawing. Make your life easier, take it to a completely different level. And in this video, I will tell you what these 2 negative aspects are and how to quickly and effectively get rid of them on your own. What prevents us from achieving our goals, being happy, building happy and joyful relationships with other people? Well, I won't be super original here. The past is the clue. Because in our past, there are a lot of events that we drag into our future. Imagine a situation where your friend comes up to you and says, "Give me a hand." You extend your hand to him and he puts poop. What would be your reaction? Most likely you would have shaken off the poop and you would probably have had a fight with this person or laughed. Everyone has their own reaction. But when people bring us and put on our hands some kind of offensive thing for us, we instead shake it off and throw it away. We treat it like something precious. We carry this poop around for years. We show it to a psychologist. We look at it. We tell our friends. We keep it with us so that anytime we can pull it out and look at it again. That's how we deal with the resentments. And with this, we poison everything we have now. And I begin to draw resentments. And you know what's surprising? Some people think that people are only offended by people. But in fact, we can be offended by ourselves, we can be offended by the whole world, that it is unfair, that someone is more fortunate, that someone has more opportunities, or that someone was born in a more successful family. We can even be offended by energy, for example, of money. We can be offended by some systems, by the state, by the law. In general, we have a lot of offenses, resentments. And why is it dangerous? Because when we are offended, we cannot interact with this system or with this person or have a similar experience from scratch. We're already imposing our projections, our expectations on new events. We think that the man will cheat on us again. The man is already different, but the expectations are still the same because we have not forgiven the offense. Fortunately, the world does not stand still, and in order to work through resentments, a psychologist is no longer needed. You do not need to cry in a session with someone. You do not need to tell the details of some events, open your soul. You can just draw. It works even more effectively because when we draw, we turn on fine motor skills and use the deepest layers of the subconscious. You will be able to forgive that offense at the deepest level, unlike working with a psychologist. By the way, many psychologists know it and use neurographics in their therapy. If you have such a psychologist, you are very lucky. You can draw neurographics for resentments on any topic. Resentment against life, against yourself, against men, against your boss, against your mother-in-law. You write down the topic, you write an actualization, and all the details about how to draw correctly are at the link in the description to this video. Be sure to look at it. And draw in the form of a case. A case is when there are several works on the same topic. Draw in the form of a case all the resentments that you have accumulated over the course of your life. And of course, I would be interested to read what are you offended by, and are these resentments made up or real? Perhaps someone really had tragic situations that were worth being offended by, or perhaps there were some kind of childhood resentments, like you were not treated by chocolates or something like this. Write your resentments in the comments. I would be interested to read. And what is the second mistake that prevents our desires from coming true? I think many have already guessed. Of course, these are fears. And now you will think, Lord, I'm not afraid of anything. What can I be afraid of? I want to live a rich, luxurious life. I want to work for myself. I want to travel. I want to spend time with pleasure with my friends. But in fact, one of the most popular algorithms that my subscribers and my students draw is the fear of big money. How do you like this news? Let me now list the most popular fears that arise when people have a lot of money. And you, if it applies to you, be sure to like the video. How many of you are afraid that if you have really big money, someone will definitely take it away from you? For example, mafia racketeers the state that you will lose your money and will still remain in poverty. If you have the same fear, don't forget to like the video and we move on. Fear number 2, that if I earn more than my man, my relationships with him will collapse because I will be more successful and because he will not be able to live with a woman who earns more than him. Another popular fear is becoming more successful than your friends because many people do not know how to behave with their friends if you earn much more and they remain at the same level. And the fear of having to completely change your environment arises. It would seem that the fear is not very serious, because so what, I will have a new environment, but in fact, as soon as a person begins to earn a little more, he is faced with the fact that his friends begin to condemn him. Why did you buy this? Do you have nowhere to put your money? And in general, it's not clear what your job is, and as a result, a lot of people completely change their environment and, of course, are afraid of it. It is easier for them to earn the same amount as their classmates earn or their friends from college earn, to belong to this group of people. Another popular fear is that money will spoil you, because from childhood we were taught that the rich are evil and greedy, that they are inhuman, that it is not spiritual. And many of you are afraid of money simply because you want to be good people. Another popular fear of big money is big responsibility. And by the way, I know people who, because of this fear, do not become entrepreneurs at all. They are comfortable earning little money. But at the same time, have a social package, have guarantees from the employer, do not take on any responsibility, and accordingly live in peace. In fact, we have a huge number of fears, and with each fear, if you go to a psychologist, you will work for years because you need to dig out the true reasons, you need to discuss what to do to make plan B. When we draw Neurographics, we immediately take a group of fears. Fear of big money, fear of poverty, fear of success, fear of failure, and much, much more. And in fact, fears can be drawn about absolutely any area of life. I suggest you learn to draw a free fear algorithm once and for all, so that you can draw it at any moment as soon as you feel fear. You felt the fear of flying or the fear that you are going to a new country, sit down and draw. The algorithm about fears and drawing fears will become a lifesaver in your life. It takes only 30 minutes, but in these 30 minutes you will get more benefits than in several hours of therapy with a psychotherapist. As practice shows, any of our desires, be it the desire for purpose, the desire for fulfillment, the desire for big money, for business development, always rests on two factors: resentments and fears. And the faster you begin to work through these two topics in relation to your desire, the faster it will come true. You will be surprised how quickly doors will begin to open. People will begin to offer you some opportunities. The world will seem to turn around to face you. Other men will begin to appear, not the same ones that have appeared to you for 30 years. New job offers or some business projects will begin to appear. Life will really begin to change. Learn to draw an algorithm and work through all the problems that interfere with the fulfillment of your desires. And by the way, about resentments, there is another very cool technique that I've been using for many years, and it helps to work through resentments just as effectively. This is a radical forgiveness questionnaire. I filled it out for all the people who offended me. Cried, suffered, spent a lot of time on it because the questionnaire is filled out separately for each person. But it is a super effective tool. This tool helped me save my marriage at one time. This tool helped me forgive people who betrayed me and who did bad things to me. And this tool works very quickly. For such a short time, I drew 5 resentments. You see? 5 circles that bothered me. And you will learn to draw resentments quickly and easily, and your life will change very quickly.